I'm plagued by choice. I don't know what to play for my next D&D character. Dave, you're my only hope.
Ted, I've got you covered, or at least this website that I've discovered has you covered. How about we talk about this fun website called Who the Fuck is My Character? What do you think?
I'm Nerdarchist Ted.
I'm Nerdarchist Dave. Welcome to Nerdarchy. For nerds, by nerds.
I guess it's time to see what the next character is gonna be.
All right, so I came across, I think it was a TikTok, right? It was one of the TikTokers was talking about like the site they use to come up with their characters, and I think I've seen it before because I think one of the people we used to game with, they showed it to us before, so it's been around for a while,
Right.
and I'd kind of like forgotten about it. And it was just a fun thing that we would experiment. It's a random site. There's like nothing to it. You just go to it, and it just gives you a blurb about a character, and it's like the race, the class, and something about them.
And then of course it's like already played that, or this is lame, or whatever, and it's like it's another button to be like, you pick again. And as opposed to just saying something as simple as pick again or next choice, it's got some kind of slur or what have you, just to make it even more hilarious and funny.
If you don't like profanity, this site is not for you. Do not go there. If that is something that bothers you, then you're not going to enjoy that site because that's all it is. I mean, every character you generate starts with profanity, essentially.
Yeah. But when you're looking for some ideas, there is definitely some off the wall kind of nonsense that goes into the choice. There are more choices that are out there, and since you're talking about race, class, and some kind of aspect of the character, there's like literally millions of options that this has come up with. So like you can go through and click, and while there might be some similarities, you're not going to see the same thing just spouted out over and over again, like what you would do with a normal character randomizer where it's just race, class, and background kind of thing.
Yeah, so what we're going to do here today is we each went over to that site, we clicked that button a few times, and we came up with we each came up with 3 that we liked. And then what we're going to do is we're going to tell you guys about them, and we're going to tell them how we might use those in a game or as characters. But then we're going to pick one of those 3 each, and we're going to roll this die 12. And then we're going to take that number and we're going to make a character at that level, and we're going to go do it over in D&D Beyond so that we have the character sheet, and we'll put those character sheets down in the description so you can see which ones we chose to make the character sheets for, and see what we turned just basically it's like 2 or 3 lines of blurb into a character and what that could possibly look like, and maybe it's something maybe you want to use in your next game to inspire you. It's only fair to mention that D&D Beyond is actually the sponsor for this video. We're going to be using their website in order to make the characters in their character builder that we derive from that other website, which you can go check out for fun. We'll also put a link down in the description for that. So power up your games with D&D Beyond.
But hey, you're looking for another way you might want to support the channel? Why not check us out over on Patreon? By supporting us over there, you can allow us to keep making the videos like this, as well as all the awesome content over on nerdarchy.com.
As a special reward, you will see 5e content for both players and dungeon masters alike. We make new subclasses, races, feats, spells, magic items that we sometimes turn into print and play cards, drop-in encounters, and so much more. Even a chance to game with Nerdarchy. We're going to put a link down in the description, one of these cards up here, for a free download sampler, so you can check it out and see if it's something you're interested in.
All right, so my first up is a Dreamy Sea Elf wizard from a broken home who is always awestruck by mundane things.
So do you have any thoughts on what that would be?
All right, so the fact that it's a sea elf, I imagine that this would be a scenario of like someone who is used to being on the water, or whether it be under or on a ship, and once they've hit land, all of the things that are stationary and what have you are just like, oh my god, this is amazing. How does this stay put? Why doesn't it slide? Why doesn't it do things? And this is where I'm totally gonna, I don't know whether I'm losing cred or gaining cred, but from a young child, I like musicals, I like Disney. I've always been a fan of The Little Mermaid, and this totally just speaks to Ariel and her fascination with, the things that are from, elsewhere. And she's a mermaid, and, the stuff from the land that she's got, huddled around her cave.
Her collection of mundane things.
Her collection of mundane things.
Yeah, if you weren't going to bring it up, I certainly was.
That's where I was going to go. And, as nerdy as this is or whatever have you, Ariel's my favorite Disney princess.
I got a Flighty, light-footed halfling cleric who from Erebor who still plays with dolls.
So why did you select this one?
One, I hit the random button and it's what came up, and I thought it was kind of funny, right? And I was like, all right, Lightfoot halflings, nice. Cleric, okay, I can get behind that. And plays with dolls. Maybe like they're a cleric of like an entertainment god.
Okay.
And like it could be like marionettes. And
Okay.
puppets, right? Is instead of dolls, and like so the background could either be entertainer or maybe guild craftsperson, and I don't know what tools I would take to make puppets, but yeah, that's where I'm thinking.
All right, I'm gonna go in another direction here.
Voodoo dolls.
Ventriloquism.
Oh, that would be great too. That would be fantastic. So I feel like you could go with a lot of like really funny. Really funny and lighthearted versions, but also a darker version is if you went with a like Death Domain cleric, and you went with the dolls were actually voodoo dolls.
That's dark. Jumping into pop culture and whatnot. There's a show called Two Broke Girls, and there was an episode where they encountered someone who did like the marionette type things, and he was very particular about his dolls, although he would never use the term dolls, he would use marionettes. So you could get that very hoity-toity kind of scenario of no, they're not dolls, they're marionettes. All right, so I've got my next one, and this is a sturdy goblin cleric from a place where all the people know your name and who hits first and asks questions later. So I love the concept of number one. We're talking about Cheers.
Yeah.
But this will be like a brawler cleric who, whether you're talking about someone who worships like a tavern god or a brawling god, or like, just straight up, they like to drink, and, so they're, perhaps they're into, more like the party kind of stuff. And then it always gets out of hand. And the fact that doesn't fit with Goblin and really Cleric, takes a little bit of tweaking. I thought, I'm like, all right, I definitely need to talk about this one.
Well, I mean, there's already a Swobold, so Swoblin, maybe we need a Swoblin.
Perhaps that's something that should become a thing. All right, so what do you got for a second?
I've got an enthusiastic wood elf sorcerer from a theater company who changes topics of conversation frequently and then back again.
This is definitely something that like you meet these kind of people in the real world. So I think it could be kind of fun to have a D&D character who jumps topics like a yo-yo.
Yeah, I mean, again, like obviously, like it just screams entertainer background for this particular character, and it could be a lot of fun. Sorcerers kind of like intuitively like just have their magic. They don't have to learn it, so they've got time to practice on their theater. And then also it all could also be a side effect of being a sorcerer. Maybe you're a wild magic sorcerer, and their personality is reflected in their magic, or vice versa.
And while it might be problematic to kind of yo-yo a conversation, a sorcerer is going to be a charismatic character, so perhaps the aspect in which you do it, that's just how this guy does it, no big deal. People get over it because they're such a likable person.
So what do you got for your number 3?
All right, so I love everything about this one. So I've got an unpopular sea elf barbarian from the Underdark who reverse steals. He often takes trinkets and knickknacks they find and puts them in their companion's pack. So I look at this as, all right, sea elf, but he's in the Underdark. So how does that work? That to me just is a whole little twisty turny nonsense. But
then honestly, I don't think it's that far of a stretch. Like what if you have an Underdark Sea, and he's from the bottom of that sea?
So the fact of reverse stealing, of either just picking up random stuff from the ground, or could steal it from NPCs and places it on his allies. This could be a very chaotic, neutral kind of character who just likes to sow chaos of, hey, how much weight do you think I can put in Johnny's pack today, and before he notices? And he's just picking up random rocks and just kind of slowly putting it in the pack. Or like, oh look, that merchant over there's got a cool necklace. I'm gonna steal it and put it in Jimmy's pouch and see if he notices, or see if we get caught. Just to stir up trouble. That fits with they're unpopular. Yeah. And it's a barbarian, so he's chaotic and reckless anyway. So beyond being reckless in their attacks, they're reckless in their behavior. Not only would that be a ridiculous, and crazy character to play, but I think it'd be a lot of fun.
So basically, they're just a prankster that they think this one prank is really funny, and everyone else thinks it's stupid, and they've been over it for a long time, but they've never gotten tired of it, and they just keep doing it.
So that's where I would go. I think that's a hysterical way to go. What do you got for number 3?
Number 3, adaptable kobold cleric from a sanitarium who's trapped in a deadly situation of their own making.
Oh my word!
So, like, I love the idea of this kobold went mad and was put away for their own protection or protection of people around them. But hear me out. They worship a god of madness. Or no, they don't worship a god of madness. A god of madness have chosen them, right, to be their cleric.
Sure.
And now they hear voices, right, in the morning when they would be receiving prayers or preparing their spells or whatever. And but they actually really do hear voices. It's the voice of a god talking to them, whispering in their ear. But maybe it all came about because they opened like a Hellraiser puzzle box, or some kind of arcane object that they played with and they shouldn't have, and that's actually what drove them insane and drove them to madness and opened their mind so it could be reached and inhabited by this god, this insane god.
Wow, that is messed up. So let me ask you the question: if you're gonna choose one of the 3 that we're gonna stat out and make a character sheet for, which one do you have your eyes on?
Crazy Kobold.
Crazy Kobold. I'm in the crazy barbarian in the Underdark.
Yeah, so I only hit the button 4 times. Right. Like, I threw out one that was similar to, I thought, one of the characters that you had come up with. It wasn't exactly the same, because they're never exactly the same. And it also was like another sea elf, and I'm like, we have got so many sea elves, that's enough. We also have a bunch of clerics apparently too.
So I randomized, and I was looking more at the class and the what bizarre habit or synopsis that they gave. I didn't really pay attention to the race, other than the fact of the one that was a nod to Ariel. Mm-hmm. So like the Sea Elf Barbarian in the bottom, I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool. But I've got a wizard, a cleric, and a barbarian. You've got a cleric, a sorcerer, and a cleric. So 3 clerics out of less than 10 rolls was kind of amusing, because I hit it like 4 to 6 times to come up with interesting things that had some very valid talking points. But you could literally spend loads of time just sitting there like,
days.
This is funny. This is funny.
Just
this is funny. Days. This is funny. Because there's no way to actually view all of the choices, because like you can't look at the code and be like, well, what are all the ridiculous concepts that they've come up with. But all right, so let's we've got the die here. We're gonna find out what level this is gonna be. All right, so the die comes up with a 9, and that's 1 roll, and that's what we're going with. So
you're making a 9th level character.
I'm gonna make a 9th level character for this barbarian.
12th level character, baby.
Wow.
Nice.
So Dave can roll well, when it's a PC on the side.
When it doesn't matter. Yes, that is my hidden talent. I roll well when it doesn't matter. So with that, what do you guys think? Do you use this website? Have you used it? Is it new to you? You can check it out in the description, as well as that link to D&D Beyond for the character sheets to see what we have spawned from these ideas. let us know what kind of crazy characters you're making over there.
While you're down there, don't forget to stop by that middle description and do all those things that make Nerdark and YouTube happy. Like, share, subscribe, click that notification bell. You know what to do.
Quick reminder, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays we drop new videos here on the channel, but you can't wait till then. No problem. Come on back. We've got you covered. D&D NPC ideas, Dwarven Jug Band, up here.
So until next time, stay nerdy.
nerdy.